Uptown Studios Live. I'm Tina Reynolds. I'm here with Brennan Grout. He is our Google specialist at Uptown Studios. Today, this is something that is dear to my heart. This is Google Grants, and Google gives nonprofits, 501c3s, up to $10,000 a month, free advertising. And we're going to walk through it and show you how to do it. We'll show you how complicated it is, and then you're going to call us to help you, because that's what ends up happening. We do this work for so many nonprofits that it really makes a change in how you drive traffic to your website and build reputation and get recognition and campaigns. And it's just this great thing that Google offers, but they do make it complicated. And Brennan, why don't you introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do at Uptown Studios?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Brennan Grout, and at Uptown Studios, I manage our Google Ads, Google Ad Grants clients, and also, as of recently, our social media clients as well. So a lot of digital advertising, which is
lots of digital, and Google. It is what we have discovered is if Google has a rule, you do whatever Google says. I am Google's bitch. I will do whatever Google tells me to do because it makes such a big difference in all of your SEO and your website traffic and all your analytics. And it just is all connected in this sticky ball of wax that they make very challenging to manage. That's why there's jobs just to manage Google.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about, we can put up the first slide. Because we only have 30 minutes and we could go for hours on this. So what are Google Ad Grants? Here we are. So I'm going to turn this over. Brennan, why don't you start covering this?
Yeah, with this first slide, I was going to kind of start out on exactly what is Google Ads before we really get into what is Google Ad Grants. So Google Ads is a digital advertising platform created to promote your products or your services on Google search. So you don't have to be a nonprofit to use Google Ads, but the difference between Google Ads and Google Ad Grants is Google Ads, you actually have to pay a ton of money.
Yeah, well, and they charge per click. So this is a pay per click advertising, so that when you go onto Google and you search for blue boots, there's going to be an ad that pops up on the top that has a little tiny writing that says ad. And if you click on it to see the boots, that company is charged $2 to $100 per click, depending on what their product is. They're probably going to spend about $2, $2.50 for the click on that ad. And that is billed to them.
Yeah, exactly. And as you can see on the slide, if you do a Google search and if you see these search results, usually they're located at the top 4 search results on a Google search. And you see a little ad button, like Tina said, above each headline. But the great thing about Google Ads is you're paying pretty much to get on the front page of Google. So your SEO of your website could be, say, on page 10 million, or you just never get shown up. Or you're a new website, or you want to promote something new. You can go use the Google Ad platform and pretty much pay to get on the front page of Google to show your services or your products. So it's a great way.
You don't show up on page 1 or 2. How far do you go? When you're clicking in a Google ad, I'll go 2 pages and then it's like, I'm done. Nobody goes to page 8, 9, or 10. It just is. So Google presents your product or services on page 1 or 2, you're doing okay.
Exactly. And
that's worth the pay.
Exactly. And the way it works is it's just like a quick bidding platform where you bid on keywords, and whenever someone searches that keyword, it will come up, and anytime someone clicks your ad, it charges you money. So
okay, tell people what a keyword is.
So a keyword is just something that you would search in Google. So it's not necessarily one word. It could be a phrase. It could be, if you're like a nonprofit, someone's looking to volunteer somewhere. So somebody might say volunteering near me. That's, a top keyword usually for volunteering.
Or the company, it's like Uptown Studios. If it was graphic design, Sacramento.
Exactly.
Those are some of our keywords, and hopefully if you search for graphic design Sacramento right now, Uptown Studios will be there because we
Yes,
spend a lot of time doing that.
exactly.
So it really is, and it's phrases. It's not just single words. A long time ago, it used to be just a single word. Now you can speak in sentences, and Google will find what it is that you're looking for.
Exactly. Hmm.
Okay,
And we
so
can,
next slide.
yeah, next slide. All right, so what are Google Grants exactly? So we know what Google Ads are, but what Google Grants is Google gives nonprofits $10,000 a month in grant spend, meaning you can spend $10,000 in keywords ads, which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and it's a
It's a
lot of
lot
ads,
each month. Yeah,
which is great because pretty much what Google is doing is giving back to nonprofits, knowing that nonprofits really can't compete with other, enterprise companies. So it's giving nonprofits an edge by giving them $10,000 a month in keywords, in
So
keyword spend, which is
so
great.
so you enter these keywords, and then if I click on the ad, it deducts. Are you bidding on how much that click is for the nonprofit?
Yeah, exactly. So throughout the day, certain keywords will change per price just depending on competition for the hour or the minute. And the keyword might be $10 at noon or $3 at 2 in the morning type thing. But
Yeah.
they're expensive. But when you got $10,000, you can get thousands and thousands of clicks. And
Yeah.
that means,
So then what happens is I have an ad for an event that I have
Mhm.
as a nonprofit. I'm having a fundraiser for our capital campaign, and Brendan sets up an ad, and you click on that ad, and he said that each click is going to be worth $10. That
Mhm.
$10 is then every time you click, that $10 is deducted from the $10,000 that Google gives you. And there's a little bit of a setup. Do you go into the setup of how you get approved? Do we have that in our slides?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's the next slide.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Let's
Mhm.
let's go to there. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's under Google Ad Grants Qualifications. So, in order to get approved, first of all, you have to be a nonprofit 501c3, like Tina mentioned. And second, you have to have a mobile responsive website. So, it's not just having a website, but it's having a responsive website that Google has to look at and approve first.
And
And
then
then,
mobile responsive means that when you look at your site on your phone, everything resizes and reformats so that it's easy to read on a phone.
mhm,
So they want to make sure that you have access to everybody that has it, whether they're on a phone or a desktop or a iPad, whatever they're on. Your site needs to conform to whatever they're on.
exactly. And which is great. And then next would be you have to apply for a TechSoup account, which TechSoup, yeah,
Yeah, everyone should have a TechSoup account. If you're a 501c3, you should have it. They have all kinds of offers and goodies in there. It's really a worthy place to set up an account.
exactly. And it's just TechSoup is just a place where it just confirms that you're a nonprofit, and then from there you go to Google for Nonprofits and you apply using your TechSoup account, and Google Ads will go through your website, make sure your nonprofit is actually legitimate,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will be like a week-long approval, and you hear back within a week if you're accepted or not. And in addition, you have to fill out a couple surveys, and you have to start an actual Google ad campaign once you're approved.
Once you're approved. And so that's a little bit of a process. We have it set up so that this is a service that we provide to all of our nonprofits if they're open to it. We charge $500 to set up your account, and then we charge $500 a month to manage all of your ads. And we'll get into how we do that in a little bit.
Mhm.
There's our little ticker across the bottom. You can check us out. All
That's
right,
great.
let's go to the next slide.
Okay, next slide. All right, so we talked about Google Ads, Google Ad Grants, how to create your first actual ad campaign. So what this means is you're trying to identify what your goal is. So if you're a nonprofit, your goal might be getting more donations or getting more volunteers. So that would be under your goal would be conversions. So you want people to click on your ad, go to your website. The website would lead to your donate page, and then you want people to click the donate button, and that's a conversion. So
Give
that's
me money, and it's really hard to get money out of people. Another thing to identify your goal, it might be we want to sell tickets to our event. We want people to download a white paper that we've written about, maybe it's homelessness or whatever your service is. You may want people to join your board. You could do board searches on Google Ads. You might want to have an ad campaign that's directed towards your funders so that it's specific to your funders and it drives them to a landing page that talks about how important it is to build community with your nonprofit as a nonprofit.
Yeah, exactly. And another goal too is just brand awareness in general too. So you could just be something you want to promote or get conversions maybe next year or maybe in 6 months, and you just want people to know about your one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So brand awareness is great because it pretty much Google just takes this information and will just flood Google search.
Another reason why we're doing this right now is because Big Day of Giving is coming up in May, and that would give us enough time to get you set up, or you can get set up and run these Google Grants ads during the Day of Giving.
Yeah.
And you can really push it out there and drive people. Yeah. Can we have the slide back, the same one?
Yeah, and then after you identify your goal, it's about like choosing your landing page and choosing your location, which is great because once you got your landing page down and you know what your goal is, you can choose what your location is. So if you're a local nonprofit and you just want to target people, say in Sacramento, you can just target, say, Sacramento, the Bay Area, just people around this area. So you don't have to target all of, the whole world. So this is driving the right people to your website, the people who are around you and who will actually, be involved with you. So
I want to talk a minute about a landing page. Mm-hmm. A landing page is so when we're doing the ad campaign, you don't want to drive people to your homepage because it's really hard for them to figure out, well, where do I go now? I wanted to buy a ticket. So you would drive them to a landing page, which has all the information on your event, and it's right there, and then they can click to buy a ticket, so that you're not making them search around your website to find that right click to figure out how to volunteer or how to make a donation or how to buy a ticket or to just get more information. So you want to drive them to a very particular page that's designed for that campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And your landing page does play a huge part because we're bringing if you think of ads as just kind of grouping the right people to the one place you want to go. And then once they get to your landing page, if your landing page isn't really set up correctly or optimized for your keywords, mm-hmm. then you might not get conversions. People just might go to your page and just immediately leave.
Yeah.
So
you make it
important.
Easy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, make it easy, fun, and popular. Easy to do, looks like fun, it's going to make you more popular. Then you got a good campaign.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go back.
Okay. And the next would be once you have set up your goals and your landing page's location, then next is to measure your ROI or return on investment, which is to actually set up your conversion tracking on your website and to track successful conversions. There's multiple ways to do it, but we found the best way is just to create a Google Tag Manager account, and you can control your conversions from there. So you can track what pages you want people, you can track what pages people should be going to, say a thank you page after someone signs up for a newsletter or someone clicks a button, you can track that as well. So
those are so important because that gives you the information after your campaign to say, this ad did better than this ad. And mm-hmm. And so we're going to stop this ad that didn't work, and we're going to run more like this ad because it got much more effective return. So do we go into the creation of the ads at all in this?
Do a little bit. It was just more about the keyword research and creating the ads.
Okay,
Yeah. So
we are.
yeah.
So with a Google Grants ad, you can't use images.
Mhm.
It's only words, so you have to really write compelling content. And talk about how you develop this content with
Yeah.
using keywords.
Yeah. So with clients, we create a strategy where we're trying to find your audience. We ask you a bunch of questions about your audience. This way we can, and your niche, and your landing page, and we will do a keyword research pertaining to your goal. So if you're looking for donations, we will find thousands of different keywords that people search related to that one keyword, and we will use those variants of that one keyword and use that in your campaign. So when we're choosing your keywords, we're not just choosing like one keyword, we're testing really like thousands of keywords at once. And what this does is it tells Google, hey, like your campaign is related to this search, and people search differently. Like,
Yeah.
so having a bunch of different keywords at once is really key in the beginning of really defining what your campaign is and like how you're going to get conversions in the future. And from the keyword research, that's how we also will create your ads, because we'll add the keywords inside of your ads. And so when someone searches, that
Yeah.
keyword will come up in your ad, and they'll show it's relevant.
Google has a keyword search tool, don't they?
Yeah, they have a keyword search tool, and then we also use a SEMrush tool too, which is
Yeah.
our own keyword research. And what's cool about that, what SEMrush is, we can look at your competitors and find what keywords are lacking, say on your website compared to your competitors, and we can also see what keywords your competitors are using in their ad bids too, so we can compete with your competition.
So you really are going head to head with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a bidding war. It's just a big auction going on just every millisecond.
So that's what Brennan does all day long. He's looking at all of these bidding wars and seeing where you are. He'll have 150 ads or more running at the same time after it takes a couple months to get up to that number. But then he's looking at your ads. This is not working. This is working. This is working better. Let's change these keywords and finding out the best time to advertise.
Exactly.
His whole job is, how do I spend this whole $10,000 every month? How do I get so many clicks that I am spending this whole 10,000? It's hard. How long does it usually take? Depends on the nonprofit, but what do you say is the average to get up to spending the whole 10,000?
It takes a couple months. Really, the first month is just feeding Google the information. And then also, it depends on the nonprofit, and it depends on what your location you're advertising. If you're just going to all California, you can reach that 10,000 pretty quick. But if you're really specific and just doing a targeted location, that could take a while.
Yeah. So if we have national nonprofits, there is more money, isn't there, that some nonprofits can get per month?
Yeah, actually, they just did this in December and January. They doubled the amount to 20,000 because they knew it was a big time. People were looking, it's a big time people are looking to donate, and Google knows that. So they tell nonprofits, for all of December, January, you can spend 20,000 a month, which we did for a lot of our clients, which is awesome.
Is it only for December, January?
It's December, January. Yeah, they used to double. They used to have 20,000 after you reach 10,000, but they stopped doing that.
Yeah. So now it's 10,000. But $10,000 in ad money for a nonprofit is so much money. It's $120,000 a year in paid ads, which is outstanding. The hardest thing is having internal staff that can manage it and spend it all. That's our whole goal, is we want to get you as much driving to your website. The other thing that happens is, by driving all these people to your website improves in Google's search numbers. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So your Google ads will also help with your SEO too. And because what happens is people go to your website, and Google will see when people go to your website to certain landing pages. And once you start getting increasing traffic, this is like letting the Google algorithm know, hey, this website's important. Like, this website is fresh. People, it's good information. So
Yeah.
they will bump your website up organically over time, higher and higher on the page.
Yeah.
So not only are you getting front page on Google for Google Ads, but over time you're building that domain authority to get higher organically too.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Let's go to the next slide. We have 10 minutes. Let's see. All right.
Okay. And then how to stay compliant. Oh, I think the one before that was how to stay compliant.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is the really important one. So once you have your ads running, you can't just, set it and forget it, because things in Google Ads, it's dynamic. It's constantly changing. So you have to be checking your keywords often. If they don't meet a certain quality score, then you run the risk of your account actually being paused, and they won't show your ads anymore until you come back to compliance. There's also a bunch of other things to do to keep compliant too, like checking your landing pages, making sure everything's working. You can only have a certain amount of ad groups and ads, and you can only bid on certain types of keywords. And the most important thing is you have to keep your click-through rate above 5%, which could be hard to do if you're not monitoring correctly.
It's all technical. It's all very detail and precision oriented, based on keywords and, again, what Google wants, we do.
Exactly.
Next slide.
And the last one is just monitor your performance. This is really important step too, because you can see what ads are working and what ads aren't. And this is really important because this is almost like a testing period. When you run a new ad, you got to monitor it. So you can be checking your Google Analytics to measure if your audience, once they go to the landing page, what they actually do, like how often they're on that page, where do they go next? If they're only on your page for, say, like a second and just leave, 100% bounce rate, then it's like, okay, maybe we need to change our landing page, or maybe we need a whole new web design.
Yeah.
So it's a good indication of, how your audience is reacting to what they see.
And I mean, you use that in all of the stuff that you do. If you set up a landing page and people are bouncing from that page after 1 second, you know that something is wrong because you're not being as engaging as you need to be to keep them on your page, to read that one paragraph of content and click that button. It's like, click the damn button. So you got to be really compelling on these landing pages. Attention span is really short these days. It's like you got 8 seconds and if you're not compelling, they're going to be bouncing. Was there anything else on that page?
I think it was just to scale your reach. So that's when you create some ads and then you know that they work, and then you had a successful campaign. It's now building on that success and expanding your reach from that original campain.
Okay.
So it's just constantly building.
I'd like to talk about some specific clients that we do work for where we started with nothing and now maybe we're 3 to 6 months in, and how was the progression? We're doing a campaign for California Student Aid Commission that just started. I mean, we had a very short window for a very small campaign. How long, talk about the setup, the rollout of the campaign and the completion of the campaign, because it was a relatively short time.
Yeah, it was pretty much most of February, but yeah, it was really quick. And the setup was we just talked to the client and they told us exactly what they wanted. They gave us their goals, and we created ads. We created, I believe it was like 18 different ads for them, and we ran those ads. And what I do in the beginning is the first 2 to 3 days this is my initial testing period, is I will test just certain aspects of one ad, and I will test different audiences to find who your audience is. So I can test 3 different audiences in the beginning, and whatever audience performs the best, that's the audience I'm going to focus on for the next round. And the next round, I'm going to test the actual ad text. So it's kind of A/B testing built in with that way. So 2-3 days of text testing, and then we really narrowed down what ad works. And I paused the ones that didn't work, and we just focused on the ones that did. And we had really, really good success with that. We had, I think it was like 8% click-through rate, which is really high. We recorded, I think it was like 300 conversions, which is really high too, in a month. And we were able to do retargeting too. So we found our audience, and then we're able to retarget them. So once they go to your website.
What does retargeting mean?
Retargeting means when someone goes to your website and they leave, it shows your ad when they go throughout the internet. So you probably noticed that in your search.
When you search for a vacation to Hawaii, which almost everybody has done these last months, the next time you log on to Google, there's an ad for Hawaii trip.
Exactly.
There's a lot of ads for Hawaii trips. Or if you look for if you click on a certain blue shoe, guess what? That blue shoe is going to show up. And so those are retargeting. Even though you didn't click on it, it's going, remember, you looked for a trip to Hawaii. Are you sure you want to go? Click on my ad, click on my ad, click on my ad.
Yeah.
So that's retargeting ad. So how much, let's see, that CSAC was a paid ad, wasn't it?
That was paid.
Okay. So let's talk about one of our nonprofits that we are managing on Google Grants.
Yeah. So for a good example was Heal California. Because when I took them over, they were spending the $10,000 a month, but they were also getting the wrong audience. So I started talking to them, and we did a whole new strategy and kind of built it from the ground up, because we were trying to reach a new audience. And within about 4 months, we were back to spending $10,000 a month. And not only were we spending $10,000 a month, but we were getting the right audience. And the client was really happy with that, because she just wasn't getting the right calls. So that's when you have to, that's why the testing is important in the beginning.
Yeah. So now are we doing the library, Sacramento Library?
Yes, Sacramento Library too.
Let's talk about them, because I think we spend their full amount each month.
Yeah, we spend their full amount too. And especially like during when COVID started, people couldn't go into the libraries anymore. So we had a talk, and I was like, what do we do now? And it's like, okay, luckily they had a website that they just, redesigned, and we built campaigns sending people to their ebooks and their movies and their summer reading programs. And they were doing like children books, anything people will, when they go in the library, now they're searching, we redirected people and to their website. That's and also inform them of when their library is open and stuff like that. So it was really important, really important time.
So I think with any nonprofit, if you're a nonprofit, a 501c3, we'd be loving you and how to help you. $500 a month. If we can spend $500 a month and generate $10,000 in paid ads, it certainly is going to pay for itself, and it should generate you enough money so that we're paying for ourselves and making you money, especially if we're really having some donation campaigns, big day of giving. You really want to do it for a test of at least 3 to 6 months so that you can see the results. The first 2 months we're really getting set, and Google is learning about you, and it's all this analytics that's got to come together to form this great relationship between you and Google. Remember, we're all Google's bitch. Do what they tell you to do. So if you have questions, just email me, tina@uptownstudios.net. We'd love to train you and help you to do it yourself. And then you can do it for a month or 2, and then you can call us and say, could you please do this for us, because it's so complicated. It is complicated, but it's $10,000 a month. It's a big deal. And I hope that you'll tune in next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Again, we're going to have another Facebook Live. I hope that you enjoy this beautiful weather today and have a great pre-spring. Thanks for
Yes.
joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.